Hi, my name is Chrisley Fisher,
I'm Pam Mooney.
And I'm Monica Haywood.
and as a group, we are focusing on the plague in Madagascar. As you can see by this picture, the Madagascar is located off the coast of Africa. It has 22 regions within it, and within the regions is 114 districts. Today, Madagascar is the most severely affected country in the world. Since 2010, it has been the site of over half of the worldwide incidence of the plague. Last year, 63 people died in Madagascar out of a total of 275 cases, according to the World Health Organization. The plague is a disease of poverty in Madagascar, in that it threatens the poorest segments of the population. However, with an outbreak of the pneumonic plague, those are characterized by high population density and could go beyond the risk population and prove very difficult to contain if sufficiently well-trained and equipped health services are not available. The case fatality rate for the current outbreak in Madagascar is 26%. Treatment with the common antibiotics such as tetracyclines, gentamicin, and streptomycin is very efficient, but their efficiency depends on early detection. Our intervention will partner up with the supplements and strengthen the already existing programs set up in Madagascar. We will partner with the WHO, the Pasteur Institute of Madagascar, the Madagascar Ministry of Health, Madagascar and local Ministry of Health offices and clinics, the Red Cross Society of Madagascar, and the International Committee of the Red Cross and community committees. These programs do not reinvent the wheel, but add some rubber so it can travel further and have a smoother outcome.
What we would like to do to introduce to help this run a little bit smoother and more efficient and effectively is we would like to introduce a couple of ideas. We would like to introduce the RAT Pack. The RAT Pack stands for Reduce, Administer, Teach, Plague Aid Committee. So this is a committee with different levels. On the top committee is the national level. These will include people who are full-time employees who are well educated and know about this disease, the transmission, and how to control the disease. And underneath the national is the regional committee. Regional committee, there will be representatives from each of the 22 regions within the country. And also there will be district members on the committee from the 114 committees. And also underneath the district is the village. We will have representatives from each of these areas within the country. The national committee will go around the country and have training of the members from region, district, and village, and they will train them about and educate them about the disease and how of surveillance and reporting of the disease and how to treat the disease. And then also they will, at these training meetings, they will be given supplies to help run this program, which we will talk about in a moment.
One of the things, Pam, is that the National Committee will train the Regional Committee. The Regional Committee will train the District Committee, and the District will train the village, and that is part of the buy-in.
Thank you, Monica. You're right. And along at these training meetings, they will be given literature and pamphlets to discuss and train the further committees so that no information is lost along the training. Along with this, the RAT Pack, we would also like to introduce the Rat Mobile.
Okay, so with the Ratmobile comes some different things. What we're doing is we're focusing on the rat, the black rat, which happens to be the vector of the bacteria in Madagascar. This is what carries the disease. So we have a few things we want to take care of with this Ratmobile. The Ratmobile will, hold on a second. So we want to focus on getting rid of the rat population. And by doing this, we want to have incinerators placed in.
And forgive me, the rat is the host of the disease, so we want to control the rat population.
Yes, yeah, thank you. And so we'll, in areas that are willing to participate in our trainings and everything, we will place incinerators that they can properly dispose of the rat carcass, and that therefore the bacteria can't get into the soil and spread. We also want to make sure that these are in areas where the plague is at its highest rates in Madagascar. We also, on the Ratmobile, will have rat traps that we can pass out. This is kind of what they'll look like. And this will help trap them safely without people having to touch them, so they could dispose of them into a plastic bag and then insert them into the incinerator or a burn barrel, or if the area is needed, they could bury them.
Yeah, and the bags for the rats will also be supplied on the Ratmobile.
Correct. Our Ratmobile, and we also wanted to provide food storage barrels for them to be able to store their food properly in their homes, to kind of keep the rats out of it being in their homes. We want them to be away from the rats as much as possible.
And the population there is very poor, so they try to keep all their food supplies within the house so that no one can steal it. But if we can contain all the food within these packages, the rats cannot get to the food.
Right. So this is kind of a sample. Obviously, this is the Truly Nolan cars, but we kind of like the idea of having our Ratmobile have the, stand out, and then so we like the little car that looks like a rat, but we also like the truck that could help carry supplies. But this is kind of the look that we wanted to go for with our Ratmobiles. We plan on having 2 of them, and they will be like the first. The Ratmobile will kind of be the first respondent to areas that are
when there's a report of disease, they're the first. They are the response unit. But when there is not a response unit, they'll be used as a preventive. They'll just go around the different territories, regions of the country to bring supplies and also promote the
education,
training, and the importance of keeping the rat control population under control.
And we also had the supplies that will be on the Ratmobile will be the bags, gloves, mask, and these dipsticks are their test strips that they can test quickly to see if you have the plague. So it takes like 15 minutes, and then they will also carry the medication needed and
to treat the disease
and literature needed for education purposes.
Yeah, what's very critical with this disease is immediate treatment, because it starts out as a bubonic plague, but it can go systemic and then also get into the lungs, where it can be spread person to person, and in densely populated areas that can be very dangerous. So the dipsticks will help with the quick diagnosis, and also the supplies will be insecticides.
Yeah.
We will go around. It's important to treat the fleas as well. The fleas is the vector that carries the disease to the human population. So insecticides will also be on the Ratmobile and be utilized and sprayed in the different areas around the country.
The one thing about the insecticides is that the fleas have become resistant, and they have a cross resistance now. So the most important thing is to actually know your flea population, so that in different areas you use a different insecticide.
The proper, to help against
you have to have
resistance.
like different kinds for different fleas.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's interesting about this also is that a lot of the rats are resistant to the plague, and so you may not see a lot of dead rats. And the other unique thing is that if you see a lot of dead rats, you don't want to start killing rats, because the fleas will move from the rats to the humans. So there's times where it's kind of a catch-22, where it's hard to get the right balance, and that is one of the reasons that this has been so hard to overcome in Madagascar.
Sanitation is huge
Yeah.
on keeping the rat population under control. So, and that's part of the education process that would be going on with the training with the rat pack, is also to teach proper sanitation to keep the rat population
At bay,
limited.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's run through the barriers really quick and then we'll go back up to the funding. Like we had mentioned before, the fleas have become resilient and resistant to the insecticides, so they're more difficult to kill. The black rat factor is that they are also resistant to the disease, and then when the disease is great, you don't want to kill them either because again it promotes the fleas from leaving the rats onto humans. The human factor is that humans, especially in the mountain region of Madagascar, can spread the disease more from their activities. Some of their religious activities, they have a tradition of turning the bones of their deceased in kind of a celebration, and this causes the plague to reoccur.
Right.
And so the government has initiated that they can't do that for 6 years, but they haven't found an age limit for the bacteria yet when it actually
dies off.
And so this is not a good habit, but overcoming traditions is something that's very hard. The bacteria continues to live in the soil, and again, they don't have a time limit for that. The infrastructure in the country makes it very difficult to get to places to reduce the population and to get the medical treatment there that needs to be there. The lack of control of being able to control the climate or the terrain, and the flooding that brings the bacteria back to
and into new areas
Mhm.
even.
is something
That's it.
that's really difficult. And of course, Madagascar is not a rich country, and so not having the funds necessary and the people themselves being poor and focusing on hunger or a locust crop is difficult. The funding has come $1 million US from the African Development Bank, and that came in 2015, and they're still using that. We'll get donations financially from the International Committee of the Red Cross, from LDS Humanitarian Services, and the dipstick test was actually produced by the Institute of Pasteur in Madagascar, but its father company in France will give a subsidy for those kits and help.
And also with the funding, there are some things that the people of Madagascar will have to buy on their own, such as the containers for their food. But hopefully we can find a supplier who can give it
At a discounted rate.
at a discount. And also for the canisters, we would use the canisters as an initiative for our rat pack committee
And training.
An
to
incentive.
help, an
Yeah.
incentive to help
Right.
them,
And they'll be filled with food when they originally get them.
so it's just an
as an
incentive
incentive.
for them to do their best and to help
Participate.
educate the country and the people there to help get this disease under control.
One of the things that we have to, as we wrap up, just remember that this is something that's not going to be eradicated, but it can be reduced. And the importance of it is because it is a biological warfare weapon. And if we don't learn to control the plague, the pneumonic plague can be spread very easily in transportation.
And
And
yeah,
And this program, we have to focus on the details and the small things and take small, slow strides and not worry about the speed of the program. So getting the districts and the villages that are most affected trained really well
And
first
educated, yeah.
is something that's important, and hopefully we'll just be supporting the programs that are already there.
And also in conclusion, and this is something not in our program, but we would like we want research